Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Anna Morfides with Mending Hearts Counseling. And today is day 9 of our 21-day workshop of reprogramming our attachment style and freeing ourselves from anxiety and going into a safe and secure attachment style, which also means that we're going to cultivate a lot of self-love and get rid of the negative self-view that comes with the anxious attachment style and switch into more of a positive self-view, and also change our vibration, our frequency from that of anxiousness or hopelessness or disappointment or sadness into gratitude, because gratitude is the best way to raise your vibration at any given moment in time. And of course, because the law of attraction in this universe uses Newton's basic law of energy, like attracts like, the more grateful we are about things and or people and or circumstances in our life, the more experiences we're going to draw in that will continue to create gratitude from within us. So the more grateful we are for things that we have right now in front of us, the more we're going to be rewarded with things to continue to be grateful for. So without further ado, we're gonna go into day 9. So day 9 is called The Money Magnet, and I'm using the book The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. I can never say her last name right. She wrote the book The Secret, and this is her sequel to the book. The Secret was basically all about gratitude and knowing that the more that we practice gratitude for the things that we have right now, instead of wishing and hoping and thinking and feeling or being envious or jealous or wanting what others have and not being grateful for what we have, the more experiences like that we're going to keep recreating in our life, because that's how it works. So the secret is, the more grateful we are for things in our present moment, the more we're going to be rewarded with things to be continuing to be grateful for. Money is a big thing. I know even for me as a female, I worry about money, but I had to really magically change my relationship with it, because I had to reframe my mind from worrying about it, because if I worry about money predominantly, then I'm just going to create more situations for me to worry about money. And I have a perfect example of someone that I knew, well, actually I still know in my life, and this person complained about lack of money so much all the time that they would always be in a situation where they would have to dish out more money, whether it is their window of their car got broken because they left their purse inside. So not only did money get stolen, but then they had to replace the window. Then other times they would lose their earpods and had to replace them twice. There would always be reasons to complain more about money, because the constant vibration was complaining about money. It was wild to me. And it was during the time that I was doing this book, and I was like, wow, that actually does work that way. The more we complain, the more reasons universe will provide us with to keep complaining, because that's our predominant vibration. So I had to really think about money, that I have enough. Even if I didn't have enough, I had to be grateful for what I had, and always be grateful for me, even the money that I was spending, that I was circulating it. Abraham Hicks actually talks a lot about money and how to reframe our mind from being in lack to a state of, I'm so grateful that even if you're in debt, because they were explaining that even if you are in debt, you're actually somehow contributing to the economy as a whole, and that money is circulating, right? Even if we're in debt, it's kind of okay. I mean, what's the point of feeling bad about it? If you find yourself in this situation, why not just focus on making the minimum payments or whatever it is that you can towards it, and reminding yourself why you had to use that money in the first place, and be grateful for those experiences, and just be grateful that there's more money going to be coming your way, knowing that there's more coming, and you can just keep making your minimum payments to the best that you can. So gratitude is riches and complaining is poverty. It's the golden rule of your whole life, whether it's your health, your job, your relationship, or money. The more grateful you can be for the money that you have now, even if you don't have very much, the more riches you will receive. And the more you complain about money, the poorer you will become. Today's magical practice turns one of the biggest reasons people complain about money into an act of gratitude. And so it has double the power to change the circumstances of your money. You'll be replacing a complaint, which makes you poorer, with gratitude, which magically brings you riches. Most people wouldn't think that they complain about money, but if there is a lack of money in their life, they are complaining without realizing it. Complaining happens through people's thoughts as well as their words. If you don't have enough money, paying your bills can be one of the most difficult things to do. And of course, that's when the biggest complaints come, is when money has to be paid out. I did talk about before how I did this practice religiously that I'm going to go into right now. And it was actually like a really wonderful way to rethink paying bills. So to have a rich life, you must be grateful for everything that you do with your money, and begrudging your bills is actually not being grateful. You must do the exact opposite, which is to be grateful for the goods or services you're receiving from those who build you. It is such a simple thing to do, but it will have a monumental effect on the money in your life. You will literally become a money magnet. To be grateful for a bill, think about how much you've benefited from the services or goods of that bill. If it's a payment for rent or a mortgage, be grateful that you have a home that you're living in. What if the only way you could live in a home was by saving up all the money and paying cash for it? What if there was no such thing as lending institutions or places to rent? Most of us would be living on the streets. So be grateful to the lending institutions or your landlord. And if you're paying a bill for gas or electricity, think about the heating or cooling you received, the hot showers, and every appliance that you were able to use because of that service. If you're paying a phone or internet bill, imagine how difficult your life would be if you had to travel distances to talk to each person individually. Think about how many times you've been able to call family and friends, send and receive emails, access information instantly through the internet because of your service provider. So she says that ever since she discovered the phenomenal power of gratitude, she would write the magic words, thank you, thank you, thank you, paid on every bill as she paid it. And I actually did this practice. I would write, well, back then it was like paper. Now I know everything is electronic, so you can just say it in your mind, or you can just even write it out on a piece of paper. Paid gas bill today, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then you think out loud or in your mind about what you received from that bill that you paid, or even the taxes that you pay. I hear people complaining about paying taxes all the time, but then think about all the good services that you're receiving from paying those taxes, and so on. Today, you're going to do the same. Take any current unpaid bills you have and use gratitude's magical power by writing across them, thank you for the money, and feel grateful for having the money to pay the bill, whether you have it or not. If you receive and pay most of your bills online, then when you receive an online bill, forward it to yourself as an email and write out in the subject line in capital bold letters, thank you for the money. Next, find 10 bills you've paid in the past and write across the front of each one of these, thank you, paid. And as you write on each bill, feel as grateful as you possibly can so that you had the money to pay the bill. Feel as grateful as you possibly can that you had the money to pay the bill. The more gratitude you can harness for the bills you've paid, the more money you will magically magnetize to you. From this day forward, you can make it your regular practice, whenever you pay a bill, to briefly think about the service that you received and say thank you and pay your gratitude for that. And then, of course, to yourself for working and having the money to do so. or whatever arrangement it is that you have, because you might be a stay-at-home mom and then we're grateful for our spouse that is doing that, or maybe we inherited money, whatever it is, we are grateful for the fact that we have this and to pay the bill. So magic practice number 9, day 9. As always, we're going to write out a list of the things that we're grateful for. So she's urging us to write out 10 things that we're grateful for, and I would do this religiously. I have so many journals of me writing out my gratitude for my day, but not only about the things that I had wanted to be grateful for, but also for things that I would want to experience. So I would say, I am so grateful that today is going to be such a joyous, peaceful day at work. Or I am so grateful that my partner is going to be so loving and cherishing me today. And I would say the reasons why, because that makes me feel safe and seen and secure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can do that, but I would love for you to write out 5 things that you're grateful for yourself. So I am so grateful for myself, for my, actually, I don't like saying gratitude for myself in front of the camera. So I think I want to skip it. But it's only because it makes me feel like I'm gloating about myself, but that's the whole point. You're supposed to gloat about yourself. That's the whole point of gratitude, is for you to feel that you're boosting your ego, that you're tooting your own horn, that you're, gloating about yourself. But it's different when I do it on my own, but I don't feel comfortable doing it actually with people. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, but I'll think about that. Yes, so we do that, and then we're gonna do the unpaid bills that we have and use the magical power of gratitude and write across them, thank you for the money. And then of course, don't forget to do the 10 bills that you've paid before and say thank you, paid. And before you go to sleep, you're gonna take your magic rock in your hand and you're gonna hold it and you're gonna think about your day and you're gonna try to find the best thing that happened to you today, which will force you to think about only the good things that happen, because as humans, we are wired to be below the line. So we tend to think about the more challenging or shittier things that happen in our life. And we tend to like ruminate about that, want to guilt, shame ourselves and worry. Yeah, like we gravitate to the things that will lead us into anxiety and panic and guilt and shame. We don't naturally go into gratitude, but unless we practice gratitude all the time, then eventually that's going to be our default engine. We're just going to automatically just stay grateful for things that happen in our lives, no matter all the other mud holes that are around. You're just going to remember the path that didn't feel wobbly. And we're going to jump right into our inner child healing work, increasing self-love for ourselves, and basically creating that sense of safety that was not able to fully be integrated into our nervous system when we were younger. And that's why we have an anxious attachment style and we tend to chase or obsess or attach, not able to let go and like yearn and want, as opposed to just being still and being okay and accepting what is, understanding why we are as we are, not chasing. Because I feel like ever since I changed my attachment style, it's a different feel that I have now if someone says no to me. I surrender to that. But before, I used to worry about being abandoned or being left behind because it would trigger my unworthiness wound or my I'm not good enough wound. So I would want to chase that person or that experience even more because I wanted to prove to myself that I am worthy to be loved. But it doesn't work by the other person doing it for you. It only works by us doing it for ourselves. So now I understood when I read even the book Brainstorm by David Siegel, and he talks about attachment theory a lot. A securely attached person, if they are rejected or they are said no to about anything, whether it is a new job or a friendship or a relationship, a romantic one, if they get a no, yes, they will grieve it and they will feel sad or whatever it is that they might feel, but they're not going to make it mean that they're not good enough. They're not make it mean that they have to chase it or run after it in order for it to be proven that it's worthy. A securely attached person, yes, will be sad or a little bit upset if they didn't get the job that they wanted, but they have the knowing that something else will come in for them because they don't feel that they didn't get that job or that person because of them, if that makes sense. Right? Like it's a different knowing. And then you surrender to the universe because you know it doesn't really have anything to do with you. And you just allow space and room for more, because the more you love yourself, the less you're going to want to attach to people and or situations and or experiences to prove that love to you, because you already have it from within. So within as without. Okay, so here we go. Day 9, loving your inner child, part 2. Today, you use mirror work to forgive the past and begin to love the beautiful child within. How are you and your inner child doing today? Are you getting to know each other a little better? I have found that working with the inner child is extremely valuable in helping to heal the hurts of the past. We are not always in touch with the feelings of the frightened little child from within us. If your childhood was full of fear and physical or verbal battles, you may have the habit of mentally beating yourself up. When you do this, you are continuing to treat your inner child in much the same way. The child inside, however, has no place to go. Many of us have an inner child who is lost and lonely and feels rejected. That was totally me. My rejection wound, wow. And my abandonment wound, like run everything. Perhaps the only contact we have had with our inner child for a long time is to scold and criticize it. And that's exactly what I would do, just criticize myself. I could do 10 things right. One thing that I did wrong, that's it. It defined the rest of my day. And I would ruminate about it, and then it would set the tone of how I thought and felt about myself. So then, of course, I would draw in more experiences where I would screw up again so I can keep perpetuating the same feeling of guilt and shame and criticize. It was such a terrible way of living. But we understand now why we are in that space, right? It's called recapitulation. We are recapitulating what took place in our childhood, because that is what is familiar. And through the laws of attraction and the basic laws of energy, we draw in the same experiences because that's our predominant vibration. That's what we emit, because everything is energy and energy is everything. So, oh, wait, where did I leave it? Okay, so many of us have an inner child who is lost, lonely, feels rejected. Yes, perhaps the only contact we have had with our inner child for a long time is to scold and criticize it. Then we wonder why we are unhappy. We cannot reject a part of ourselves and still be in harmony within. We have to accept all parts of ourselves, especially the shadow parts, the ones that we are ashamed about ourselves the most. Vulnerability kills shame. Brene Brown is really big on vulnerability. And in emotional wellness, we were taught vulnerability kills shame. Shame likes to hide. It wants us to hide things, but no more. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Experiences that we had or actions that we did out of our wounds. No, we forgive ourselves. Forgiving to God. We let it go. Forgive ourselves. There's no point, because resentment will just eat us up and create more disease from within us. So we forgive and we let go. It's the biggest gift that we can give to ourselves. So today we're going to use our mirror to move beyond our parents' limitations and connect with that little lost child inside. Let's forgive the past and begin to love this beautiful child within. This child needs to know that we care. Most of us have buried many feelings and hurts from the past. Learning to love your inner child is going to take time. Take all the time you need. Return to these exercises again and again. You will get there, I promise. Your inner child still carries the beliefs you developed early on. If your parents had rigid ideas and you are now very hard on yourself, or you tend to build walls around you, your inner child is probably still following your parents' rules. If you continue to pick on yourself for every mistake, it must be very scary for your inner child to wake up in the morning thinking, what is my parent going to yell at me about today? What our parents did to us in the past was a product of their consciousness. We are parents now. We are using our consciousness now. If you are still refusing to take care of your inner child, you are stuck in your own resentment. Invariably, that means there is someone you still need to forgive. What resentment do you need to let go of? What haven't you forgiven yourself for? For now, visualize that you're taking your inner child by the hand and going everywhere together for a few days. See what joyous experiences you can have. This may sound silly, but please try it. It really works. Create a wonderful life for yourself and your inner child. The universe will respond and you will find ways to heal your inner child and the adult you. No matter what your early childhood was, like happy or sad, you and only you are in charge of your life now. You can spend your time blaming your parents, or you can embrace love. Love is the biggest eraser I know. It erases even the deepest and most painful memories because love goes deeper than anything else. So do you want a life of pain or joy? The choice and power are always within you. Look into your eyes and love yourself and that little child within, and we affirm, I love my inner child. I am in charge of my life now. And yeah, this is how important inner child work is, because if you think about it, all of us are wounded. So I was wounded, so of course I was going to attract people that were wounded as well. So then it's one inner child basically fighting the other inner child. Or when I see my parents having a temper tantrum, I can now picture their unhealed inner child coming out that's still 5 years old or 7 years old, that is literally throwing a temper tantrum because they're not getting their needs met. But once we understand that, then we don't have to throw a temper tantrum, but we're trying to understand, okay, what am I needing right now? Why is my inner child coming out? What is it needing? So then we stop blaming other people and we go inwards, and that's where all the power lies. The power doesn't lie out there trying to have someone behave in a certain way for us to feel better. Is understanding why we feel the way that we do and giving ourselves what we need so we can feel better. That's true power. And Louise Hay was totally abused, raped, beaten as a child, and she became like an international author once she developed the idea of mirror work after she did it for herself and saw the changes in her life. So yes, this stuff does work. So we're going to go right into our mirror exercise of day 9, and she encourages us to go to the bathroom mirror and look at the picture of yourself as a child that you taped to it yesterday. Take a moment right now and tell your inner child that you care and say these affirmations. I care about you. I love you. I really, really love you. And then you can continue the conversation that you had with your inner child that you began yesterday. You could open with an apology, saying something like, I'm sorry I haven't talked to you over the years. I'm sorry I scolded you for so long. I want to make up for all the time that we have spent apart. And if you haven't talked to your inner child in 50 or 60 years, it may take some time before you feel like you're reconnecting, but be persistent. Eventually, you will make a connection. You may feel the child inside you. You may hear the child inside you. I feel like I totally have this vision of my self that was hurt the most with me at all times. And like, I know she's still, it's wild, actually. It's pretty awesome. So when we were little, she's encouraging us to really find out, what did we really like to do? And she urges us to write down everything that comes to mind. And then when was the last time that we did these things? And then too often the parent inside of us will stop us from having fun because it's not the adult thing to do. And now we know that we are supposed to still let that inner child come out once in a while, and we're supposed to have fun and we're supposed to play. We don't have to be rigid or always like working or ruminating or worrying. Let your inner child come out and have fun. Have fun with yourself, have fun with your friends, have fun with your family, have fun with your inner child. Just embrace joy. And yeah, she promises that the more we practice this, the more fun we're gonna cultivate in our lives, and the more fun experiences will find their way to us. And with that said, we're gonna settle into our meditation. So as always, whatever feels more comfortable to you, you can sit up straight or you can lie down, and you can have your back upright, making sure all our chakras, our 7 energy points, starting from the crown of our head all the way to our tailbone, are upright and lined up and spinning beautifully. All the colors, we have silver, purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Imagine all these colors spinning. All of our energy is clear of debris, of any unhelpful thoughts, unhelpful core beliefs, any childhood past experiences. They're just, as they're spinning, they're just being spewed out of us. They're no longer serving us. And I'm going to encourage you to take 3 deep breaths, and you breathe in love, and your exhalation, if it can be longer than your inhalation, as you exhale out right into, from deep in, from your diaphragm, you exhale everything that's not serving. Feel how that resets your nervous system already. The best way to reset our nervous system and take us from fight or flight back into the parasympathetic nervous system is by breath. And you are encouraged to keep your eyes still closed, and I will guide us through the meditation. So today you are willing to learn new things because you do not know it all. You're willing to drop old concepts, you're willing to drop old concepts when they no longer work for you. You are willing to see your behavior and say, I don't want to do that anymore. You know you can become more of who you are, not become a better person. That would imply that you are not good enough right now, which is not true, but more of who you really are. Growing and changing is exciting, even if you have to look back at some painful things within yourself in order to do so. So as you go back in time, see yourself as a little child of 5. Hold out your arms to this child and say, I am your future, and I have come to love you. Embrace this child lovingly and then bring it with you to the present time. See the 2 of you standing at a mirror, looking at each other lovingly. And as you stand there, become aware that there are so many parts of you that are missing. Now go back in time even further to the very moment that you were born. You've just come down the birth canal. It may have been a difficult trip. You may feel the cold air and see the bright lights, and someone may have just smacked you. You have arrived. You are here to live a whole lifetime. Love that little tiny baby. Love that baby. Now move forward in time to the present when you began to walk. You would stand up and fall down, stand up and fall down, and stand up and fall down. And then suddenly you were standing and you took a step and another step, and then you were walking. You were so proud of yourself. Love that little child. Love that child. Then move forward in time to your first day at school. You didn't want to leave your mother, but you did. You took your first steps over the threshold of your school. You were scared, but you did it. You were doing the very best you could. Love that child. Then remember your life around the age of 10 and everything that was going on then. It may have been wonderful or it may have been difficult, but you were doing the very best that you could to survive, and you made it, and now you love this child. Now go into the time that you were entering puberty and remember all that was going on. It was exciting and scary and maybe more than you could handle, but you got through it. Love that teenager. Go to the time of your first job and how exciting it was to earn money. You did the best that you could to succeed and love that person. Remember the first time you were rejected in love and how much your heart hurt. You were sure no one would ever love you again. You were in such pain. You did the best you could and you made it. Love that person. Then go into another milestone in your life. It might have been embarrassing or painful or wonderful. Whatever it was, you were doing the best that you can with the knowledge that you had at the time. So love that person. And now gather all the many parts of yourself and bring them forward to the present. See yourself standing in front of the mirror with all of yourselves and realize that you are looking at the richness and fullness of your life. Of course, there were difficult times and painful times and embarrassing times and times of confusion, but that's okay. It's all part of life. Love all of yourself, especially those parts of yourselves. Love yourself. Now turn around, and as you look ahead, you see a person standing before you with their arms outstretched saying, I am your future and I have come to love you. Life is an endless opportunity to love yourself, past, present, and future. Loving and accepting every part of yourself is healing. How can you possibly be whole or healed if you are rejecting any part of yourself? Healing is to make yourself whole again. Love yourself, every part of yourself, and be whole. All is well, and so it is. If you feel like you want to come back to the room, you can reopen your eyes, or you can continue to take a nap if you want, or keep your eyes closed and envision you and your inner child hanging out a little bit more, doing wonderful things. My ring light somehow went out in the middle of the meditation, but that's okay. I'm feeling very much at peace right now. I hope that you are too, as you're continuing to cultivate self-love and gratitude for your life and healing your anxious attachment style. And then I urge you, after you do your gratitude at the end of the night tonight, to put on the meditation by Corey T in order to continue to cultivate safety in your body because that is something that we're lacking as anxious attached or prior anxious attached adults. And if you want to send any love to the channel through comments, likes, or subscribes, or donations to the channel, I am forever grateful. And I will see you tomorrow for day 10.